Hi, welcome everybody. This is AGRU here again with a new episode uh, for the second series, a brand new episode for the second series of the AGRU Trends series. This is your host, Francisco Pizarro, and we are joined again by Edgardo Cornejo, our COO in Agro America, Ernie Herz, our technical manager in Agro America, and Rudolf Fumer, our product engineer in Agro Austria. Good to see you all. In this second series, we're going to explore about long-term concrete. Especially, we're going to discuss about concrete protection liner. And in this first episode, we're going to talk about concrete kryptonite. Yes, one of the as soon as I started working in agro, one of the main things that caught my attention was the Sure Grip Ultra Grip solution. It's a concrete protection liner that we are going to discuss in this three episode series, and has caught my attention to its high differentiation, the way it uh, makes such a differentiation into the market, such as the specialization and the way it solves different problems related to the kind of topics we're going to discuss this first episode. Edgardo, good to see you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining, Francisco, Rudy, and Ernie. Again, AGRU Trends has been designed for you. AGRU Trends has been designed to discuss the benefits of agri solutions. And in this case, like Francisco said, the concrete protective liner, it's a very unique solution. And with more than 25 years of experience just in this field, Mr. Ernie Heinzen will help us with his knowledge. Also, Rudy with a vast experience in this subject. So it's going to be a really good series of product explanation. Thank you.
Yes. Ernie, Rudy, good to see you. Ernie, could you please describe us a little bit about the CPL, what it is, and what are the main troubles and the main issues it solves within the infrastructure industry.
Sure, Francisco. Thank you. Um, First off, concrete protective liners are thermoplastic liners or thermoplastic membranes that have locking extensions or anchors that cast into the concrete and provide a mechanical bond to the concrete. Uh, these thermoplastic liners are typically uh, waterproof, so they can, you know, prevent waterproof the concrete, but also very corrosion resistant is common in concrete protection uh, and the requirement for it. So this is a typical example of a AGRU CPL. This is an ultra grip liner. So these are the locking extensions or the anchors that embed in the concrete. This particular liner has a signal layer, which is a damage detection layer on it, um, so that if this were scarred or scratched deep enough, that we could see the yellow from the other side coming through and know that it may need repairs.
Could you tell us a little bit, Ernie, about the main problems we're gonna find in, especially in sewage or petrochemical industries related to corrosion, incrustations, abrasion, and what is a product like this related, and how it could this product solve such an issue?
Certainly. Francisco, I really like the concrete's kryptonite discussion because, concrete is in building science and construction materials is sort of a superhero. It's been around for thousands of years. It's back to the Romans and the Egyptians and the Sumerians that had versions of concrete. You would be hard pressed to find a construction project anywhere that doesn't have a little bit of concrete on it, or at least more likely a lot of concrete on it. But just like Superman, which is probably the most iconic superhero out there, Concrete also has its kryptonite. It has a few things that can affect and can, uh, you know, reduce the service life, reduce the performance of concrete. So, um, concrete protective liners, what they do is enhance that concrete. They allow concrete to perform in those conditions that would otherwise be adverse to um, concrete, bare concrete, or concrete in its own. So, uh, some of the things that we see are incrustation within a pipe or a structure where uh, minerals or other deposits will grow on the concrete structure. If we have a concrete protective liner, we have a smoother surface that's not going to allow for those deposits to build up. This could affect the hydraulics in a pipe or the performance in the structure. Um, Other things we may see are abrasion. If you've got a pipe and you've got flow with a some sort of a slurry that has high solids in it, it can abrade a rough surface like concrete. Whereas a concrete protective liner is going to be um, a slicker surface. Is going to provide a better hydraulic flow, and it's going to resist that abrasion. Um, Also, we could have spalling of the concrete. And spalling is when, for some reason, and typically it's when moisture is involved and moisture gets in the concrete, that portions of the face of the concrete will break off or delaminate from the remainder of the concrete. Usually that's when moisture gets in and perhaps starts to corrode the reinforcing steel that causes that to happen. That's another issue that can occur with concrete. One of the bigger issues is leakage. So this could be exfiltration or infiltration. If you've got a hazardous material or a chemical that you want to contain, you don't want it leaking out into the environment. You don't want exfiltration. But also, if you've got groundwater and your structure is below groundwater, you don't want infiltration. For instance, in a wastewater treatment or a wastewater environment, um, you don't want to have to treat a bunch of groundwater because treating wastewater is expensive. And if we have infiltration and inflow, or I as it's known in the industry, that can contribute significantly to the cost of treating the wastewater stream.
So
Um,
Ernie, one thing
yep,
for the audience. As
yep,
of today, you have municipalities that will have concrete pipes putting inside a specific layout. And what's going to happen if they are unprotected, you're going to have that concrete moving these fluids, in this case sewage. And what's going to happen is after X amount of years, some people are saying 2 years, and those ones saying a little bit more, the concrete pipes will have damage inside. And then you can have ruptured pipes. You can start having spills of sewage water. So the enhancement with these concrete protective liners will help extending the life of that pipe. So if we have a municipality that is looking at this podcast, the first question would be how many years you can protect a concrete with a concrete protective liner. I think we get that question many often. Can you explore and expand a little bit more about that situation?
certainly, certainly. Um, the one thing I had not mentioned yet was corrosion, and of all the issues that concrete can have, it's possibly the most important. Um, Corrosion can occur if we're in an industrial facility or a chemical plant by a chemical that we're trying to contain in the concrete. We have an acid or a salt that can eat away at the concrete. In a wastewater environment, we're most commonly concerned about microbial induced corrosion or microbiologically induced corrosion. In the industry, we call it MIC, just to save a little bit of time. So, what happens in microbial induced corrosion is that in a anaerobic condition, the wastewater begins to break down and it generates as an off gas hydrogen sulfide, H2S. That hydrogen sulfide, when it rises, it condenses on the upper portions of the structure. And over time, bacteria starts to act on that gas that's condensed up there, and it creates a biofilm, or in a technical term, a kind of a slime layer on upper portion of the structure. That biofilm over time, as the bacteria act on that hydrogen sulfide gas, they convert it to from that hydrogen sulfide gas, they convert it to sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid can erode and eat away at the concrete, because we all know that an acid in a base, which calcium based concrete is a base, really don't get along together. So that's one of the reasons that the main thing that we're protecting our infrastructure, our piping systems.
So let me see if I understand that correctly. In that graph that is in the left side of the screen, you have a concrete pipe that has wastewater, and the bottom part of the pipe will be okay because the fluid is moving. But the problem will be the upper part. Based on that, I can see cracks in the top of the pipe. So the all those gases will create sulfuric acid, and that will corrode the pipe and break the pipe over time. Is
Exactly,
that correct?
Edgar. Exactly, Edgar. So the wastewater, below the wastewater is not a problem, below the water line, primarily too, because the flow is washing away that biofilm later. But
So this
also,
product, this product will, if you install concrete protective liner made of high density polyethylene, that product will be attached to the surface of the internal surface of the concrete pipe, and then that will never happen. So you will extend the life of that concrete. What do you
exact,
think
ex-
about that, Rudy? That is how do you explain that from your European experience, which is also very important?
Yeah, I say lined precast pipes are very important for the sewage industry. As Ernie mentioned, main focus or main problems are corrosion and also abrasion. What we see for many, many different countries, in case this corrosion, abrasion occur, cracks are appearing, and when the cracks are appearing, groundwater is able to infiltrate the pipes. This is not a phenomenon only for pipes, but also for tank construction, which are built in underground. So that means the groundwater can backspool the area around the crack, and then hollow spots occurring in the underground. And in case the force is too heavy or the buildup above the construction is also too heavy, then the pipes or the construction can collapse. And this can cause to a massive problems and also to massive costs, because when you imagine such a pipeline is constructed below a highway, for example, or a house or other building, and also the cracks are initiating in the other constructions, so that means you have a problem not only in this particular structure but also on other construction sites.
yes. And, the advantage is that the concrete protective liner creates a barrier. So it the corrosive environment is not in contact with the concrete, it's in contact with the concrete protective liner. So with that, we don't have any corrosion, and as a result, we don't have any cracking that can occur from the corrosion, and we don't have the infiltration that can exacerbate that and cause for full technical failure of the liner, possibly. Well, not the liner, but the pipes.
Okay, excellent. I think it's very important for users to know that they could extend the life of their piping systems by using this concrete protective liner, and really the question at the beginning is how many years, and I think it's a tricky question, but I believe there's designs for 25 years, 50-year plus. So it's a very long term solution. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the life of the concrete protective liner is going to be dependent on the environment that it's in. But in a typical municipal wastewater environment, we can easily see an excess of 50 years, and certainly in most instances, well over 100 years of life uh, uh, from the use of concrete protective liners. Depending
I
on
will,
the yes,
yeah, I would like to point out a little bit about an interesting topic Ernie mentioned about the incrustation, about what's the impact it has incrustation on the flow. Remember, we're at the end, we're talking about flows, and probably Rudy in his experience, because when we talk about CPL, concrete protective liner, most of the customers say, well, I would like to save some, no matter what the product is, just consider the middle where the liquid flows. But as you know, as we have discussed recently, what happens with the air and the air and the appearance of the different types and other gases. Probably Ernie can describe a little bit about what it's in, why it's so important to align the whole surface, and why it's also related to incrustation, because again, we're talking about flows, trying to have as most laminar flows as possible, because when we started not to have, let's say, a little chaos in the flow, it started to create uh, different type of movements inside the pipe, that of course will affect not only the structure because of the gases, but also in terms of the stability. We're again talking about pipes that are below the ground, or structures that could affect others. Could you talk us a little bit about that, Ernie?
Sure, sure. A um, a concrete pipe has a higher Manning's number than you would see in a polyethylene lined pipe or a thermoplastic lined pipe. So that means just without any incrustation, you're going to see a lot better flow just because of the smoother walls. Take that into consideration when you start to have incrustation or buildup, mineral deposits that are starting to attach to the walls of the concrete. Your Manning number immediately drastically increases and reduces the amount of flow or the hydraulic performance of that pipe. Um, so one of the differences is, as well as that it's smoother uh, with polyethylene, that allows or doesn't allow the mineral deposits or the growth to occur on the pipe. With concrete, you have a little rougher surface, and that allows for the attachment of the mineral deposits and the incrustation on the pipe. So it's much
Mm.
more susceptible to incrustation to have an unlined pipe. So the smoother
Yeah.
pipe performs better and reduces the potential for incrustation.
and and maybe of course this is a 3 episode series, and maybe we can start discussing, maybe we can develop it in the coming episodes that will be broadcasted soon. But if you can talk us, Ernie, a little bit about what other solutions are within the market, and why the CPL from AGRU is such a difference within the market.
Sure. There's a number of different solutions out there. I think primarily doing nothing is not an option. There are certain concrete additives that can be placed in there that may have some effect, but maybe can volatilize out over time. Um, Spray applied or rolled on applications also are used in the industry, but they tend not to perform very well under high back pressure situations when there's a high hydrostatic back pressure, and they can also wear off. So, from a standpoint of longevity and the best bang for your buck, so to speak, in your investment is concrete protective liners. They're going to last the longest. They're going to be there for, as we said earlier, likely 100 plus years.
So
Of
from a
course.
high level, Ernie and Francisco, we could say that not putting anything in the material is not an option. So that means that there's going to be more maintenance. So if you have a piping system in a highway, or in a very uh, a lot of where a lot of cars are moving through this highway, and now you're going to have to stop that flow in order to move and change the pipe. That cannot
Mm.
happen in downtown of any country. It's a very difficult situation. So for municipalities, for engineers that currently are checking only putting concrete, lining this concrete with a concrete protective liner will increase the lifespan of that piping system, again, up to 50 plus years if need be. And this is a very, very good solution. Right now, if you are incurring those maintenance costs every 2 years or three, just because you are adding some type of additives to the concrete or some polyureas, there's another solution. You could reduce
Mhm.
maintenance. You could extend that life of that concrete by protecting it with HDPE.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Uh,
And it's not only the cost of digging up the roads, of stopping the traffic. It's the bypass of the sewage that is also very, very costly.
I think we have raised several interesting topics that for sure will be developed on episode 2 and 3. So I just want to thank to Ernie, Edgardo, and Rudy for this first episode. We're gonna explore again several topics related to CPL and our shear grip, ultra grip solutions. So thanks again. The name of AGRU. We thank you for your interest on these episodes, on this series. Again, this is the second series of episodes. The first one was about our AGRU Thinking Big, XXL pipes, and the second one's about, again, our concrete protective liners. So we hope to see you soon. Let's don't forget to send your comments on every on all the social networks. This episode will be posted. So thanks again, Ernie, Ricardo. A pleasure.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you,
See you in the next
Francisco.
episode.
See you.